Before colonization swept across West Africa, one man stood as a defiant symbol against European conquests. For years, he held back the tide of empire. His name was Behanzin, the last independent king of Dahomey. His is a story of incredible bravery, sharp strategy, and fierce resistance, a story that has been almost erased from the history books. Today, we bring it back to light. Our story begins in the kingdom of Dahomey, located in what is now modern-day Benin. In the late 19th century, Dahomey was a formidable West African power. It was renowned for its highly disciplined army, its significant wealth derived from trade, and its unique cultural traditions. At the heart of its military might were the famous Dahomey Amazons, an elite all-female corps of warriors, feared and respected across the region. The kingdom was a complex, organized state with a rich history stretching back centuries. In 1889, as the European scramble for Africa was reaching its peak, a new king ascended the throne of Dahomey, Behanzin. He inherited a kingdom at a crossroads. French colonial forces were aggressively expanding their influence from their coastal footholds, eyeing Dahomey's resources and strategic location. The French expected a swift and easy submission, as they had encountered in other parts of the continent. But Behanzin was not like other rulers. He was a proud and resolute leader who understood the threat posed by European encroachment. He refused to sign away his kingdom's sovereignty. He would not bow to the French, and his defiance would ignite a conflict that would last for years. From the very start of his reign, Behanzin made it clear that he would not be a puppet king. He immediately began to prepare his kingdom for the inevitable confrontation. He was a brilliant strategist, and he knew that he couldn't face the French in a conventional war. They had superior technology, machine guns, modern artillery, and naval power. So, Behanzin adopted a strategy of asymmetric warfare. He modernized his army as best he could, acquiring some modern firearms. But his true strength lay in his people's knowledge of the land and their unwavering resolve. He masterfully organized his forces, including the formidable Dahomey Amazons, who were often at the forefront of the fighting. They were known for their incredible skill, discipline, and sheer ferocity in battle. Under Behanzin's command, the Dahomeyan army employed guerrilla tactics. They launched surprise attacks, set up ambushes in the dense forests and swamps, and used the difficult terrain to their advantage, turning the landscape itself into a weapon against the invaders. They would strike quickly and then melt back into the jungle, frustrating the French and inflicting significant casualties. For several years, Behanzin's strategic genius and the bravery of his warriors kept the French at bay. While France had guns and ships, Behanzin had the hearts of his people, an unbreakable will, and an intimate understanding of the land he was fighting to protect. He was proving that African resistance was not futile. It was intelligent, organized, and incredibly effective. However, the French were relentless. They saw Dahomey not just as a prize, but as a symbol. Defeating Behanzin was essential to asserting their dominance in West Africa. In 1892, they launched a full-scale invasion, known as the Second Franco-Dahomeyan War. A massive, well-equipped expeditionary force, led by Colonel Alfred Damini Dodds, was sent to crush the kingdom once and for all. This time, the sheer weight of French firepower was overwhelming. The battles were brutal and bloody. The Dahomeyan soldiers, including the Amazons, fought with extraordinary courage, defending every town and every path with their lives. They fought for their king, for their homes, and for their freedom. Despite their heroic resistance, the Dahomeyan army was gradually pushed back. The French advanced on the capital, Dahomey, in a final act of defiance. As the French forces closed in, Behanzin ordered the city and its royal palaces to be burned rather than let them fall into enemy hands. He escaped into the countryside with a small group of loyal followers and continued a guerrilla campaign for nearly 2 years. He remained a symbol of resistance, a king without a throne but still the leader of his people's spirit of independence. Eventually, facing starvation and with his people suffering immensely, Behanzin made the difficult decision to end the bloodshed. In January 1894, he surrendered to the French, not as a defeated warrior, but as a king seeking to spare his people further pain. The French, wary of his influence, refused to let him remain in his homeland. They exiled him, first to the Caribbean island of Martinique, and later to Algeria in North Africa. But even in exile, thousands of miles from the kingdom he had fought so hard to defend, Behanzin never surrendered his dignity or his identity. He remained a king in his heart, a living symbol of resistance. He passed away in Algeria in 1906, never having seen his beloved Dahomey again. His last wish was to be buried in his homeland, a wish that was finally granted decades later when his remains were repatriated to Abomey. Today, Behanzin is remembered as one of Africa's greatest resistance heroes. His story powerfully refutes the colonial narrative that African kingdoms were passive victims of European conquest. On the contrary, they were strong, sophisticated societies that fought back with strategy, intelligence, and immense bravery. In modern-day Benin, Behanzin is a national hero. His statues stand proudly, and his story is told as an inspiration for future generations. His legacy is a testament to the enduring power of courage, the importance of independence, and the vital need to uncover and celebrate the histories that were so often hidden from the world's textbooks.